Good morning, good morning, good morning, B. How's it
Good morning.
going?
Going great. How you doing, Butterfly?
I'm doing good. The butterfly's feeling better.
Good, good. Welcome everybody as y'all come into the chat room. This is the End This Season podcast on day 50.
50.
Day 50. Wow. 50 days in a row. Can you believe that? 50
Wow.
days in a row. We have been showing up here, showing up together, showing up for ourselves, showing up for you, all the people at home, wherever you are. We're showing up every single day. We've been doing it for 50 days straight. And we could not do it without you. If we didn't see anybody showing up, guys, I don't know if we might have the muster to do it. I'm sure we would, but it is an extra incentive to see you all coming in to the chat, to see you all coming every day, talking about it, messaging about it, leaving comments about it. We appreciate all of your engagement and your involvement, y'all. How's your day going, Mom? I hear you got your coffee.
I got my coffee. It's going good. I did go to bed later than I had planned to, but I slept better. So maybe I'm
Mm,
going too early, but I did sleep better. I didn't wake up as many times last night thinking I've missed 6 o'clock, so that I can make sure everything's good. So, yeah, but I'm good. I feel great.
feel
Feel great.
good. One thing that,
Hmm.
that helps me is doing physical workouts, whether it's physical labor or going to a gym. I've noticed that if I don't work out or do MMA or train or something like that, I will just be up all night and my sleep isn't as well. But if I do something physical, man, I sleep good. So I hope everybody out there got some good sleep last night and that y'all are staying in shape and staying healthy. Um, both mentally, not both, but in mentally, physically, emotionally, balancing all those things. So if you guys haven't been with us, a brief background is that we originally started reading through Dennis Kimbro's Daily Motivations for African American Success as a acknowledgement and celebration for Black History Month. Um, we are well beyond the 29 days of this year's February, and we have seen a great benefit from continuing to read Daily Motivations for African American Success. Every time we read this book, it is our first impression, or for me, some of these I've read before. But as far as going through it every day and remembering which one we're going to see, we do not review these passages the night before. We actually read them live with you and give you our first impressions, give you our breakdowns of what we saw in it. And so we would invite you all in the comments to do the same thing. Um, but a little bit about this book, Daily Motivations for African American Success, will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. So each motivation begins with words of wisdom or a quote from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. What it teaches you will last a lifetime. And one of the parts that I like to read on the back of this book, it says, a quote, every thought which enters our mind, every word we utter, every deed that we perform makes its impression on the innermost fiber of our being. And so we're starting our days out with affirmations, with powerful, motivating readings, and a quote from a distinguished individual to start the day off right, to let the first thing that enters our mind um, to be a breakfast. They say that breakfast is, or what you eat in the morning, your body has an exaggerated effect. I think the same exists mentally, emotionally. So if we can gain control and affirmation and positivity and start it off with the right energy every single morning, then the trajectory of our day hopefully will be the exact same. And I think we have a better chance of having a good day, better chance of having a purpose driven day, better chance of having a fulfilling day, if we do it this way. So hope you guys are strapped up and ready to go. I am, Mom. You got anything to add before we jump into the book?
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. All right. So yesterday's was actually, you know what? Nope, we got some accountability, right? For the people that are in the chat yesterday, when we ended, we said that we would ask them
Yes.
if they like how they thought about the one track mind, and if it showed up in their day yesterday. So if you're in the comment section, you remember that, or if you were just tuned in live yesterday or watched the video after the live, let us know in the comment section what you thought of one track mind. Give us that. We're going to jump into the reading for today, but while we're doing that, or a little bit before, because I want y'all to pay attention throughout the process, feel free to jump in and say
Excuse
something.
me. I did receive a message, so thank you for the reminder. Hey, Miss Tammy, happy Wednesday. I hope you have a wonderful day. Remember to choose the I can one track mind over the I can't. Live your life out loud with purpose and always remember you got this.
Mm.
Yeah, I got that yesterday. And for me, I love it, y'all, because I'm usually the one sending things like that. Rarely do I get it. And so this person took the time because I need it too. Like I need to be fed. I need people to help me remain accountable and remember, because every day is not going to be that day where I'm in the season of just where I always want to be. Things happen and they will get you off. And I wasn't having that kind of day, but still I love the fact that someone poured into me. So thank you for that. So I did get that. Thank you, Brandon, for the reminder.
No problem. No problem at all. It's just it's an accountability measure for us all. I just want to make sure that we're all literally and metaphorically and figuratively on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that people are getting this, and I can tell by the people that show up every day, whether on the Instagram, the YouTube, or the Facebook Live. We appreciate. I can tell that this is something of benefit to you guys. So thank y'all again for rocking with us, and make sure that you send this link to somebody that you know, you love, you care about, or that you think would find value in what this book offers, and maybe even some value in what we think about this book. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump right into it. So today's March 21st, our 50th consecutive day. Our title is Cast the First Stone. Cast the First Stone. And our distinguished individual who gives us a quote today is from Jesse Jackson, founder of the Rainbow Coalition. Jesse Jackson. Everybody knows who Jesse Jackson is, right? And his quote was, "Many people need more hope than help. Keep hope alive." He said, "Many people need more hope than help. Keep hope alive." It's pretty powerful. And the passage goes as follows. When the great library of Alexandria was burned, one book was saved. A poor man bought it for a few coins. It was not well written, but it was unique. Within its binding, it contained a thin strip of parchment on which was written the secret of the touchstone. The touchstone was a small pebble that could turn any common metal into pure gold. The writing explained that it could be found on the shores of the Black Sea, lying among thousands and thousands of other rocks that looked exactly like it. But the secret was this: the real stone would feel warm while ordinary pebbles are cold.
Mhm.
So the man sold his few belongings, bought some simple supplies, camped on the seashore, and began searching among the pebbles. He knew that if he picked up ordinary stones and dropped them because they were cold, he might pick up the same pebbles hundreds of times. Again, he knew that if he picked up ordinary stones and dropped them because they were cold, he might pick up the same pebbles hundreds of times. So when he felt one that was cold, he threw it into the sea. As his hope faded, he spent days, weeks, months, and years searching for the touchstone. Yet he continued his routine: pick up a pebble, see if it's cold, then throw it into the sea, and so on. But one morning, he picked up a pebble that was warm. Inadvertently, he still threw it into the sea.
Mm.
He had gotten so used to discarding the stones that when he found the one he wanted, he still threw it away. So don't give up your hope. Don't give up your hope. It's the magic touchstone. Without hope, there's nothing. Keep hope alive. Don't throw it away. And the affirmation that we read 3 times, one for me, one for you, and one for the person that you are going to send this to, is I will keep hope alive. My future depends on it. Again, I will keep hope alive. My future depends on it. And last time, say, if you said it out loud last time, say it internally this time. If you said it internally, say it out loud this time. I will keep hope alive. My future depends on it. I like that one. That was a fun read. I like the twists and turns and things like that. So, what do you think about it, Mom? What you got for me?
So cast the first stone, and I'm going to go down to the very, almost to the very end, where it says he had gotten so used to discarding the stones that when he found the one he wanted, he still threw it away. And for some reason, I'm visualizing the stone as myself, or you visualizing it as yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because it says many people need more hope than help. And sometimes I think we get caught up in um, thinking we need help because, one thing, we don't realize that we are the first stone, right? Not taken away from God being first in our lives, but if you don't like the you that God created and you don't see the value in you that God created, how can you see the value in God, right? So I'm thinking as the stone for me, as myself, and how quickly sometimes we throw ourselves away through the deeds it talked that you read about, through every word we utter, every deed we perform, um, that makes that impression upon us. That, and I know there's so many ways you could take this, you guys, but once we realize that we are the stone, we give up the need to continue in picking up people, or I'll change the word stone, right? Because so often we give our power away so often, to the point we don't focus on us enough to know that we are the first stone, right? That you are the one God created for your purpose. Um, and I believe there's been a time or two for everyone that you talked about this. We've been right there. We've been right there. We're so close. Like you said, the bigger the, when you feel blessed, you expect a test. And it's so hard for us to keep going. And in this case, to stop picking up the stones that don't get you there, to stop picking them up. So I know you got something totally different for us, I bet. But I will keep hope alive. My future depends on it. And I'm going to throw it over to you, Brandon. I want to put some information out here about hope. Okay, so go ahead, do your thing, bring us the twist, and I'm going
I'm
to find some.
okay.
I know you got something totally different.
I'm letting it kind of sink in. To be honest with you, like there's a, as far as the you gave me a different perspective in thinking that we were the stone, and in my assessment, I would say I think the stone could be a metaphor for multiple different things, and it probably is, but I think I see the stone as being hope itself.
Tell me why.
Well, it says many people need more hope than help, right? Keep hope alive, and then um, after we found out that he had gotten so used to discarding the stones that when he found the one he wanted, he still threw it away. So it says, "Don't give up your hope," and then at the end it says, "Don't throw it away." So to me, it's looking like it's actually hope. So I will keep hope alive. Hope to me being that stone, that touchstone, the stone that um if it touched any, like if you, it could turn any common metal into pure gold, right? So finding common things and then having hope about what can become of those things, right? Let's say your education, right? If you're hopeful about your education, you're most likely to do better, right? If you're hopeful in some type of social justice movement, or even in personal development, if you're hopeful about or have a positive disposition about your outcomes and your abilities and
Okay.
your dedication, even, or the trajectory of where your life is going, you're more likely to see more opportunities than you see challenges, right? um, because what one person could see as a challenge, the other person can see as an opportunity for growth. They can see it as an opportunity for healing. They can see it as a moment for God or life to teach them something, right? They can say it's the difference between, like we said about the one track mind, like, or everything is working, all traffic is going in your direction, you know, or even the little boy who said, "Well, I'm not the best batter, but I'm the best pitcher," when he kept striking out on himself, right? So I think it's being able to flip the switch in our heads to be able to filter information, our life experiences, even communication, as something that's helpful to us. But if we lose that hope, if we lose that positive disposition, we might be dispossessed of our position, are dispossessed of our goals, of our purpose, of where we're going in life, where our destination is, right? Um, so I think hope is kind of the gas that goes into the car on the journey, right? Like it's something that you have to fill up on, and sometimes people give you that, right? Like you said, whoever left that comment to you was them pouring into you. It's not that they did anything physical to you. It's not like they gave you a massage or they fed you some food or gave you an energy drink or anything like that, but you still feel some type of elation, some type of energy, um, some type of positive reaction that you have to them saying something to you. It gave you the touchstone. It gave you hope. And even if you got sleep or didn't get sleep last night, that little bit of hope and inspiration may have gotten you over the hump of waking up with a positive disposition. So I think, the Chinese proverb that small drops fill up the bucket. I think hope is something that we should take on tap, not something that we should just take in huge chunks and bites. Like we can't go half of the year thinking that we're hopeless and then in one day have, some or just look at once a year having some big hope or some big New Year's resolution, and then for the rest of the year we're down on ourselves. You know what I mean? I think hope is
Mhm.
something that we have to have on drip, on tap. And we can get it and look for it in different places. You can find it in nature. You can find it in a good book. You can find it in a good friend. And so just whatever you can do, keep hope alive. Don't let hope get on a lifeline where it's struggling to live because you fail to see the silver lining in all of life's challenges or problems. So for me, looking at it, says many people need more hope than they need help. So I started looking for that hope inside of this passage, and I think that that's the metaphor of the touchstone, because it turns any lead or any ordinary common metal into gold. No matter what you're doing, if you do it with hopefulness, it's better. Even if you fail, the experience itself was better. It's
Okay.
like
Now, yeah. Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like even for me, um, or for people who, like an atheist will ask me maybe, and I've had this question before. How do you know that we don't just die and turn into dirt again, right? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. What if that's all it is? We just turn to dust. I say, well, one, of course I don't believe that, but having hope for an afterlife or for an end to the suffering that we see, or an elevation, and knowing that we're or feeling that we're not just these physical bodies, gives me a better life in general. So even if there's nothing after this, it would still not serve me to live a life of nihilism, or a life that is perpetuated only by my desires and my animal instincts. It still does not serve me to be happy. Look at people who all they do is purchase things, and they buy things, and they have all this money and wealth and things like that, and they're of the world, right? Or we perceive them to be of the world. Many of them are not happy. They might not have that positive disposition, that positive hope. So what we see as an accumulation of things and wealth is really an insatiable craving of trying to fill the holes within themselves that are not physical, that are metaphysical, that are intangible. So for me, hope is something that's intangible, something you can't grasp, can't touch, but it still has an effect on the physical, mental, spiritual, emotional realms and realities that we experience every single day, just like the person that said something to you about yesterday's reading. I think that gave you hope. So that's all I got.
So, Brandon, I have a question. Do you think that in this particular reading, do you think this person had hope? Do you think this person was hopeful about the stone,
I don't
about
I don't I
finding
don't
it?
I think hope was the metaphor of the stone, right? Like, because there's so many chances, like we said yesterday, there's so many ways that this won't work. There's so many stones that we could pick up and they be cold, but there's one stone out there, or there's one way that this will work. But
So,
sometimes, really quick, so even in relationships, like let's say a sister, she just had the worst relationships, the worst brothers, that she's met. She could easily say, man, all these Negroes ain't nothing. All these people, all these men, they ain't worth the dime that they make. They ain't, whatever. And then there could be a good man that come along, right? And then she still have that assumption, that hopelessness of just, and that being so used to casting them away, casting them away, casting them away, that she does not see the gold or the touchstone that's in front of her face. She can't even recognize, she doesn't process it enough, fast enough. And I'm not picking on sisters, it happens to guys too. She can't process the goodness or the warmth of this man fast enough before she's throwing him away, because of the knee-jerk reaction of us doing what we're used to, right? So I think the touchstone itself is hope.
okay, so would you say yes or no for this particular story? I'm just, if you
I
could
don't.
answer like you don't. Okay.
I think he had hope in the beginning, but I think he lost hope. So like
Okay.
I think, and it says that here. It says, "Don't give up your hope." So he had to possess it first, and then became dispossessed of hope. Right? It's the magic touchstone. Without
Okay.
hope, there's nothing. That's where I'm getting.
Okay. And that's right. That's what I wanted to bring out and make a point, because it says here, da, 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 where so the man sold his few belongings, bought some simple supplies, camped on the seashore, and began searching among the pebbles. He knew, like he had this plan, he knew that if he picked up ordinary stones and dropped them because they were cold, he might pick up the same pebbles over and over again, right? So when he felt one, and I'll skip that part, but when he came across the warm one, he had become so used to our habitual actions, words, thoughts, feelings. And that's why I think I went right to this part where he threw it into the sea. He had gotten so used to discarding the stones that when he found the one he wanted, he still threw it away. And I guess I take it back to a very personable thing, because most times I always do, you guys. I just try to internalize everything as what is it telling me? What can I do to continue in and grow? And don't give up your hope. It is the magic touchstone. So I wanted to ask that question to just create an example or a vision for the people, that sometimes you can think you are hopeful, as this man did. He kept going back. He stayed. It says for years. He did it. He did it. But sometimes we can get so used to doing that we forget to be. and to be in the moment, to where I can feel that this is warm. I can even feel it. But before we do so, like you said, Brandon, we've cast stones, we've thrown things away. How often, and I'll speak to the ladies, I think about myself, I will find a product that works, and before I know it, I've found another one. And then I end up with just a cabinet full of stuff that works, but I've kept buying something else that works, right?
Right.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. So I don't know, a good one. So you guys will have to, especially if you have the book, you'll have to do your own, I guess, pass your own perspective and make it applicable to your life, but keep hope alive, and don't keep it so alive that you forget what it is, right? You forget to experience what hope is, a feeling of expectation. Like when you're picking up the stones in this particular case, maybe if my mindset is on picking up, finding the warm stone rather than casting all the cold ones out. And then maybe my thought and my touch will mirror each other. So we'll complement one another. If my hope is on finding the warm stone rather than casting the cold ones out. Because if your mindset is there, even when you pick up the warm, or as in you said, Brandon, when you find yourself or someone as it relates to relationships, um, you won't know what to do with it. You Even if it's warm, you won't know what to do with it. So, and you were looking for the warm one. So hope, a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. So if he had hope that I'm going to touch the warm stone, a feeling
Mm-hmm.
of trust, we've talked about, I'm going to trust that I pick up the warm stone, and that I have the ability, the mindset to recognize and understand that. But instead, we get caught up in the habits of our thinking, of our feelings, of our emotions, and we keep doing the same thing without hope that it will change. So, over to you,
Right.
Brandon.
I think as it pertains to hope, and let's speak about using the metaphor of relationships. Um, you could say you're looking for a life partner, right? And then you're hopeful about it. So in the beginning, when you're dating maybe, or you're speaking to different potentials, you could be looking for the best in them. But once you're disappointed in someone, after that, do you let
Mm.
that make you? Do you let them change your perspective on people, or do you let them change your hopefulness, the amount of your hopefulness? And then, are you? Is it a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point, where you let that one
That's a good point.
situation make you look for the worst in people now, because of the trauma you may have experienced, the emotional trauma from being disappointed in someone else, right? And seeing, oh, okay, now you're not recognizing that now you're looking for the worst in someone. You're looking for the red flags now, as opposed to the positive character traits that would help you to build, you know, um, a good relationship, or a good foundation, or a good wife, or a good husband. You see what I'm saying? So like, you could start,
Hmm.
instead of looking for positive qualities, start looking for these negative qualities, and that's what you're finding. So even when you find someone that has that positive character, you're still looking for the imperfections in it, or still so used to casting them
I like that,
aside.
Brandon.
You know what I
I
mean?
like that. I like that.
And,
I like how you put that one.
and
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and it shows here when it says that, he knew, that if he picked up ordinary stones and dropped them because they were cold, he might pick up the same
Hmm.
pebbles hundreds of times, right? So when he felt one that was cold, he threw it into the sea. And then the very next sentence says, faded. As his hope faded, he spent days, weeks, months, and years searching for the touchstone. So the difference between his
Mm.
success and his failure was his impatience of time, him thinking that he knew when the time was best, and which was right now to find the stone, which may serve an immediate purpose, fulfill an immediate need. But who knows? How long did it take Noah to build the ark? You know what I'm saying? Like there's time that things take to happen. And so he had done all the things right. You know, he sold all his things. So what does this mean? As a businessman, you've made your investment. You put
Mm,
all your eggs in this basket. You've taken out that business loan, or you've invested your own money and property and wealth and equity and collateral onto this idea. You've left where you are. You've immigrated to a new place. You've gone to school at this big college or something like that, um, or you've moved to Silicon Valley to get your business off the ground. You've done all these things, and you've been dedicated for not days, not weeks, not months, but you've been dedicated for years, and you still haven't gotten the big break that you've been looking for. Right? You've had contracts turned
mm,
down 1,000 times. The thing about Tyler Perry, right, who used to, like you said yesterday, lived out of his car, right? And many people said that his shows wouldn't be successful because he was going to a certain demographic that these people didn't want to spend money. And he could have stopped on year 5, year 6, but what if on year 7 that was his big break? He could have been seen a bunch of contracts and then the opportunity come, and he's like, man, this is just another contract that's not going to work out. This is just another opportunity. I don't feel like at this time going through all that stage play and rehearsal and all this stuff. I've been doing this for years. This probably gonna work out just like the last ones. It ain't gonna be a
mhm,
big splash or anything like that. And he could overlook that contract and never sign it, or throw it away and discard it because all the other contracts, or the majority of the contracts didn't come out the way that he wanted. And who knows what would have happened. So we have to keep hope alive. And I think the important part there, the transition inside of the passage was as his hope faded, as his hope faded. So what are you doing to refuel and refill your hope? What are you doing to keep your proverbial your fire lit? Are you adding wood to it? Are you going to places and spaces and visiting people and enjoying relationships that serve you and that pour into you, as opposed to those that take away from you? Like, are you feeding the spirit of hope? And if you're not, then I can understand why hope would fade away, because you haven't been filling your cup, right? And so find out ways.
oh,
Everybody think about today. How are you igniting and reigniting and lighting the pilot of your hope, and keeping that, even if it's a little fire. Even a small candle can burn a bridge. Even a
mm.
small candle can burn a bridge, or a small candle can warm a village. Because that fire can spread. But what are you doing to add to your fire, your hope, your motivation? Are you attending every day? Have you bought the book? These are descriptions of hope. These are giving you extra fire throughout your day. Are you taking them seriously? Are you listening and then going and forgetting what we read this morning? Or are you taking it to heart and trying to see its impact and looking for its impact every day? I can tell you myself, I look for this book to follow me. I'm like, oh, okay, where can I find hope today? And so ask yourself those types of questions that help you grow. And that's all I got for y'all.
So Brandon, I will keep hope alive. So my question, because that's in our affirmation, I will keep hope alive. Is hope alive? That's a question for you to ask today. Or are you getting caught up in? Are you caught up in your routine of doing
Mm.
just because you've been doing it, right? As in this passage. So I will keep hope alive. Is hope alive in your life, in your expectations, in your desires? Do you trust what you're hoping for? Do you trust that it will happen? So that's a good question for today. And that's all I have
Cool.
for right now. So thank you guys. If you have not gotten the book, please get it. And I'll say cast the first stone and the last one, but don't throw away the one that is for you and that you're looking for, that you're expecting, that you're hopeful for. Don't get so caught up in your routine that you don't realize that you're right there, that you're right there. All right.
All right, guys. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. This 50th consecutive day of the In This Season podcast, where we read through the book Daily Motivations for African American Success. Thank you guys for attending. Again, if you're not African American, welcome to the cookout. I hope you got some good food, and I hope you're able to take a plate home, because it's a human thing. It's a human thing. This hope, motivation, these affirmations is something you can take home too. But the context in which we read it and interpret it is through the African American history and story. So thank y'all so much for rocking with us. We're going to end this show the same way that we do every single day, by 3 readings and repetitions of our affirmation. So I'll read the title, I'll read the quote from Mr. Jesse Jackson, and then our affirmation. So the title was Cast the First Stone. And our quote today was, many people need more hope than help. Keep hope alive. And our affirmation for today, I will keep hope alive. My future depends on it. That one was for me. Now this one's for you. I will keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
My future depends on it.
Depends on it.
And the last one is for the person that you're going to send this to. So think about that person right now, somebody that you love, somebody that you want to see do better in life, and maybe reignite their hope. This is for them. Say, I will keep hope alive.
Hope alive.
My future depends on it. Go tell somebody that affirmation today, and tell them, I just was thinking to send this to you, that you need to keep hope alive. Your future depends on it. Thank y'all so much. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Please go to the YouTube page, the In This Season podcast. There's a link that's usually there, I believe. Like the page, subscribe to it, follow it, and let us know, what you think about it. Let the algorithm know that this is what you want to see. Thank y'all so much. We'll be here tomorrow on the 51st day of reading through Daily Motivations for African American Success on In This Season podcast. Thank you, Mom. Butterfly, I love you. Love you so much.
Thank you. I love you more. Thank you. Thank you. Peace. You.